There were 14 EXCO members of the Stambik IBTC group. Brave men and women who were proven achievers in their profession. A great team of determined individuals driven by their shared desire to succeed. Now they set their sights on perhaps the biggest conquest of their lives. Climbing to the top of Africa. The great Uhuru Peak of Mount Kilimanjaro in faraway Tanzania, Africa's highest pinnacle. Their quest is grand, but the task is equally daunting. It is man versus nature. Human endurance is about to be tested. They are about to be stretched physically, mentally, and emotionally like never before. Who will blink first? Man or nature? Do they have what it takes to go head to head with the great mountain? How far are they willing to go? Will the mountain speak encouraging words to them? We're about to find out. Welcome to the trip to Mount Kilimanjaro. Beautiful Mount Kilimanjaro. At first glance, you might be forgiven for thinking you have just arrived on another planet, a world away from the hustle of everyday life, an unknown place where everything seems so pure, so innocent, so captivating, and so out of this world. Then someone says to you in Swahili, "Pole pole," meaning slowly, slowly, will get you there. That's when you know it's for real. Flying from Lagos to Tanzania seemed to be the easiest part of the trip for the EXCO members. They proceeded to the hotel in Moshi, where they rented equipment and got briefed about what to expect on the mountain and what they needed for the climb. But as they arrived at the Kilimanjaro National Park, the tall challenge in front of them couldn't be more obvious. From the start, they weren't exactly sure what to expect. It was a totally novel experience, and they were largely unaware of the many surprises lying in wait.
When we were setting up, we felt that we were going through, or we would go through kind of a challenging experience. Go through things that will more or less compel us to work as a team, and much more than my expectations they were met.
In hindsight, it was probably not the hardest thing I've done, but it was very different from what I typically do. I do endurance sports, so I'm used to doing being active for hours. I've run 90 kilometers before, so it wasn't the extent, the physical endurance of the event that made it hard. Ironically, what I found different and hard was when I run a race, when I get to the finish line, the race is over and I can relax. But with Kilimanjaro, once I got to the top, it wasn't over. I still had to walk all the way down to base camp and then walk all the way down to the previous camp, which was very different from anything that I've done before.
Climbing Mount Kilimanjaro requires the right attitude. It is important for all climbers to rest their bodies and store up huge amount of energy prior to the climb. One also needs to have the right clothes and all the tools needed to get to the peak. But the EXCO members had no trouble selecting the right gear for the tricky climb to the top of the mountain.
Fail to prepare, it means that you've prepared to fail. You could not have gone, it's not possible for you to go to Mount Kilimanjaro to get to almost 6,000 meters above sea level without adequate preparation.
I spent a lot of time before the event asking people what it was about, asking them specifically what kind of clothes do you need, because everyone said it was very cold, but coming from an African country, I don't really know what very cold means. In my world, I wear a jersey if it's cold. So trying to understand what to wear, and I kept saying to them, okay, if it's cold, what must I wear? And in the end, someone gave me ski clothes to say, this is what you should wear. So preparation definitely made a difference, but somehow you can never quite imagine what it is until you've been there.
The first day of the climb was tough, while the toughest day altogether was the third day. The Exco members had to adjust quickly to the wild climatic swings along their way.
The first day we started through the forest and it rained heavily. In fact, all my things were wet. So I slept with wet clothing.
We had to pass through about 5 or 6 very distinct climatic conditions. At the time, it was as if we were in the rainforest region. At the point in time, it was as if we were in kind of a savanna. And before we knew it, towards the last day, we were actually walking on ice or snow.
The going got tougher as they moved ahead. Every new step demanded far greater effort than the previous. Legs were sore, breathing came in jagged gasps. Mind, soul, and body were all stretched to breaking point. For some, the end of the climb couldn't come soon enough, but in spite of the rigor and sometimes unbearable suffering, there was no better emotional reward for the Exco members than proving to themselves that they were part of a strong winning team with a single goal in front of them. The strong lifted up the weak. The weary got encouraging words. Little by little, pole pole, as the potters would say, they marched on and on and on.
I got lots of guidance from the guides, but I don't think I was managed. I mean, they didn't take my legs and put them backwards and forwards, but they would point out to me where to go, what was an easier way. And they made me feel that I was part of their team going to the top. And I think if you get that experience when you do anything, when you're going to a bank, when you're in a shop, it makes you go back there again.
We cared for each other along the line, and I think that is one of the objectives, and we got to know each other better. I mean, ordinarily you meet at meetings, after the meetings you all leave and go to your respective places, but that gave the opportunity for people to exchange ideas. You get to know more about your colleagues and friends.
Africa's highest point always has many surprises waiting for those who are attempting to climb to its top. But perhaps the biggest surprise of the entire trip was the unheralded friendliness, care, and deep professionalism of both the guides and the porters. They were all professionals with years of experience in the business. They looked well-trained, well-mannered, smiled all the time, and spoke English as well as several other languages.
They're really fantastic. I mean, they realize that people who come to the mountain have a goal. The goal is to get to the top. And they try to do everything possible to make sure that you achieve that goal. And they're very experienced. So they've been up there so many times that they're able to point out to you the easier routes. They're able to guide you without over-managing you, but they're focused totally on getting you up there.
The Exco members were made to feel special and welcome. There was a warm, welcoming smile on the faces of the guides. At every turn during the climb, the Exco members were given maximum access to the expertise, industry, and comeliness of good-natured guides. They were treated to the very best of customer relationship. The whole idea of this exceptional treatment, according to one of the park's officials' websites, was for people to come to Mount Kilimanjaro National Park and walk away with a solid appreciation of both the place and the people, in addition to giving them a thrilling adventure.
Some of us, we had nausea, because of it, which meant that you couldn't eat, you couldn't digest very well, and at the same time, you were battling with low concentration of oxygen. So energy-wise, in terms of physical energy, it was just drained.
They went beyond helping, providing special aid that encouraged more than handheld. They never stopped telling them how well they were doing. They encouraged everyone with their ever-present smile and excellent words, challenging people to go for the biggest emotional fulfillment of all, climbing to the Uhuru Peak of Africa's tallest mountain.
I think what you learned so much was about service. At least that's what I learned. I mean, totally focusing on your customer means that you give a customer the experience they want. They may not achieve all their goals, but they'll remember your service. They'll remember the things you did for them.
Without them, that trip would not have been possible. So service is key, and when you make people feel happy, they are bound to come back again. And I think from service perspective, that is something that we all took away from that trip.
I thought it was quite interesting that they never asked me if they could carry my backpack, which I was actually quite glad about, because I don't know if I wanted to give my backpack away. But they didn't. They supported different people in different ways according to that individual's need. They never interfered, because if you try and help where there's no help required, it comes across as interference, and they've got that balance right perfectly. They always made you feel special, and everyone in the group felt like the champion because of the way in which they supported us and the way in which they encouraged us.
Those guys went out of their ways to satisfy us, to accommodate us, right? Even when we were making quote unquote unreasonable demands. You know, I mean, at particular altitude, somebody was asking, look, will I have a bottle of some drink or something like that? Something that was never envisaged. Without promising, they went ahead to send somebody who was moving in the opposite direction. And by the time we got to another spot, they've produced it. They were able to do it. So what I'm saying is that at any point in time, we should look at the customer, we should aim to satisfy the customer. And satisfying the customer is not from our own point of view, it's from the customer's point of view.
They often say that Mount Kilimanjaro only divulges its secrets to those who are bold enough to get to the top. But for the EXCO members, being at the snow cap, so close to Africa's highest elevation, was already a dream come true. It was an unimaginable victory in itself. Climbing to the famous Uhuru Peak on the mountain was always going to be a bit of a stretch for many of the EXCO members. They have given everything they've got. There was nothing left to give. They'd come to the limit of their endurance. Talk is cheap, they say. After all said and done, only one EXCO member from the entire delegation from the bank made it to the Uhuru Peak. Overall, even those who failed to make it to the top felt victorious. They had achieved more than they ever expected and pushed beyond their own limits by sheer power and the ever-present caring guides. Everyone came feeling fulfilled and brandishing a new sense of accomplishment.